Okay. Today I am just doing a really short slideshow, just like an introductory. So I'll do that first, and then we can talk. Okay. Oh dear. Okay. Welcome to Raising Happy Kids Zoom show, episode 8, Exploring the One Rule. During this 1-hour Zoom show, I focus on sharing tips and lessons on the one rule to raising happy kids. Each episode has at least one example of the one rule in action, demonstrating how it helps you raise a happy child. Then we have Q&A and discussion. When I talk about raising happy kids or creating harmony with kids, I bring up the one rule. The one rule equals agreement. Agreement equals harmony. Using the one rule means you find agreement. That's the rule. You find a solution that everyone likes. You've found agreement. You've found harmony. Knowing and following the one rule is all you really need to create harmony between you and your kids. In any situation where there are differences that might lead to conflict between you and your kids, use the one rule. I learned this strategy from 3-year-old children. I was teaching them a complex conflict resolution strategy, actually intended for adults, and they taught me this. So don't think you're in for a rough time. It's simple, it's easy, it's powerful and effective. It works if you use it. Okay. Anyway, that's the introduction. It'll be pretty much what I continue doing, and sometimes I'll do slideshows, sometimes not. Today I wanted to look at some of the aspects of using the one rule. A couple of things have come up. One was, it was suggested that adults, no, it was suggested that adults might have trouble with the starting part of the one rule, which is finding something that you like in terms of whatever situation you're dealing with. And this person was suggesting that adults might not know what they want. And somebody else actually in Facebook group, the Happy Kids members, suggested that children don't really know what they want. and or at least not enough to express it. And that could be true on both parts. But the one thing that I think everyone can do is they know whether something feels good to them or not. That's what I think. That everybody can feel inside, like if somebody suggests something to you, you know, no way, that's something I totally don't want, or yeah, that'd be okay, or wow, yeah, that sounds great, I never thought of that, I'd really like to do that. That there's this feeling response inside, and that's really what needs to be part of the first part of the one rule, where you find agreement. And I know children, it's no problem for them. In fact, the children, and I've dealt with a lot of children, they know what they want, what they don't want, at least in terms of how it feels to them, if it feels good or if it doesn't. And they're pretty clear. The younger they are, the clearer they are. That's, I think, why adults have so much trouble with 2-year-olds, because they're practicing developing their willpower, so they have to keep choosing things that they want to go after. And at some point in wanting, you become determined, just like you not just want it, but you're going to get it. And that's part of the wanting process. And so adults have trouble when children get into wanting that they don't want. So I think that perhaps there might be difficulties with adults in knowing what you want. There's probably not much difficulty in knowing what you don't want, but if you take it all to the level of feelings, that's where I think it works really well. Do either of you have anything to add to this? Okay. I'm
still
I think
taking it
right.
in.
What?
Yes, Brian,
Go ahead,
you go ahead. Yes,
Um,
Brian, say.
I'm still taking a lot of this stuff in, and I think about it a lot. And one thing is, I'm trying to associate this one rule particularly to my granddaughter, who I'm spending most of my time with now. And in 1 month, she'll be 3, so she won't be 2 anymore. And I'm watching her change. And I know that I have to change my ways just as much to go with her. One of the things that I read from Karen's work that impressed me was that 2-year-olds don't hold grudges. You know, they're just open-minded, and you know, they just kind of go with the flow. They know that they love you, and even when you're disciplining them, they listen to you. But now that she's turning 3, I'm seeing that she does have a little bit of an anger thing, and she'll sulk and get mad when she gets disciplined, and she didn't have that before. So she's learning, but she's not learning traits that I'm enjoying, but she's becoming like the rest of us. So, but what I would want Karen maybe to tell us and educate me a little bit more is how I have to compromise the one rule to go with her, you know, and not to, I can't rely on our old ways. Am I making sense?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So she's what I call coming in for a landing. Like she's, because we are not fully formed. Well, of course, we're not fully formed till much later, maybe never. But from being born, you're not born with everything that you need, and so she has she's integrated her personality. She's started that process. That is taking form. I would say at this point, she might be able to work with the one rule, because the children that actually taught this to me, they were 3, but they weren't beginning 3-year-olds. They were later on in that process. And they could handle, they didn't especially like the fact that that I held on to the swing, and I was determined that we were going to find a solution that everybody agreed to. I didn't know the one rule at the time, but that's where it started taking form most strongly. But the older girl, who was later in her 3s, she might have even been 4, but I think they were both 3. She caught on to the whole concept, which is, and it happened because I noticed that there was resistance in them, because they both wanted that swing. And they didn't like my coming and being involved in this. But I had let everybody know that I was going to be doing this. So, I mean, whether they held on to that information or not, I don't know. But anyway, so I felt inspired, and this is what I did. I pointed to each of them. I said, "You are important." And then I pointed to the other one, "And you are important." And one of the girls, the one that was a little bit older, she got that concept. Now, your granddaughter may not get that concept yet,
Right.
you know, because
Okay.
she might still be coming out of everything's about her. And a lot of people end up staying in that if they don't have something that shifts them, or if they're just not naturally that way. Anyway, so, okay, the thing about using the one rule with the 2-year-old is because of the intense personal work they're doing inside, building their willpower, increasing their intelligence, uniting those things, and putting all of that together in actionable form. They are working really, really intensely on that. And that takes up their attention and their focus. It's just like commanded. They have to get this done. So what I recommend in terms of the one rule for that age, and your granddaughter is still a little in that age, even though she's shifting, is the adult does the work, because they are busy doing other work that they've got to do to integrate themselves as people. So the adult does the work in terms of putting out there, okay, the thing is they need to, this is like deep need, they need to practice wanting. And they need to have an object of their, what they're going for. It doesn't have to be a thing, an object like a thing. It could be an experience. It could be, you know, wanting to sit on your lap, or, you know, I mean, it could be, it doesn't have to be a thing.
But when you say they have to practice wanting, does that mean you have to almost like deprive them or make them ask for it?
No.
Or
no, it, you know, naturally,
like my granddaughter,
yeah,
she'll ask me, Papa, sit on your lap, you know, and then
yeah,
I let her every time, you know, of course.
yeah.
She's knocking on my door now, and her mom's like, he's in a meeting, don't. But she's so polite, she knows to knock on my door until I say, come on in. And I wouldn't mind letting her in here right now, but her mom is stopping her, you know. But
Okay.
me and her have a good relationship. We're doing good. But go ahead.
Okay, so no, the wanting process, you don't have to intensify it in any way. It's just natural. And to have successful wanting, where you want something and you decide, yes, that's what I want, and you're going to go after it and you get it, that is so great, right? Everybody loves that. So yeah, I mean, help her be as successful as she can, I would say. Because I think that's very much built into who we are, is to come here and be successful, take on bigger challenges and figure things out. And but it'll happen naturally. Nobody has to do anything to make it a more intense experience.
Well, I have trouble saying no, you know, and her mom's good at it, you know, which is, I just kind of play with that, you know, like, or let that happen. But sometimes something will get out of hand, and you know, or it's time to stop an activity, and she wants to keep going, and I'm thinking in my head, gosh, most 2-year-olds don't have an attention span like this kid. She's sticking with me here, and I'm getting tired and I want to shut down, but she wants to keep going, you know. And her mom's like, Grandpa's tired, he needs a break, you know, put the stuff away, you know. And I wouldn't think that would be happening, but it is. And inside my mind, I'm thinking, this is awesome. She,
right.
like right now, she's knocking on my door wanting to come in my room because she wants to be with me. So
yeah.
Somebody asked her this morning, a visitor, you know, how you doing? And who are your friends? And she said, that's my papa, I love him. You know, it's that, like, wow, you know. I had a nurse that was here, you know,
yeah.
and she just announced it, you know, and like, wow, this is so good. You know, I just have a relationship with her. Maybe you weren't allowed to forge when you were a teacher, you couldn't get that close with your students, you know. Towards the end of my teaching career, that wasn't really allowed. There was no touching or hugging. Or
right.
I owned a daycare for 17 years, so I did it anyway. But when I was in the public schools, you could get in trouble for that stuff.
Right.
And now, you know, you see the Boy Scouts are going out of business because they're getting sued for things that happened decades ago. And they're letting all these men that are my age sign up to get on the list to get money because they claimed that they were molested, and the Boy Scouts are going bankrupt. And I've been talking to that with my local community members who I know are still in the Boy Scouts, and they didn't know. Now, if you were to research it a little bit, it comes to fruition. There's websites on it. There's TV commercials about it. Like, that poor group has been going for so long, and just like all this other social stuff that's going on, the Black Lives Matter and all this stuff that's getting out of control, tearing down statues, you know, and doing all this stuff. It's like politics and education and all the stuff that's real to me has become a big joke. Like tonight, we're going to watch Trump and Biden debate each other like it's a TV show. In the old days, teachers would say, watch your president or your future president give their speech. Today, they don't want them to watch Trump. He's not professional. He calls people names. He's like a bully on the playground. He says Sleepy Joe Biden, Lion Hillary. You know, he calls. He's not mature, and I'm concerned about these things. And I don't want to be like that as a leader, you know, or as a mentor or as a teacher. So I'm trying to learn from you about this one rule stuff and compromising my values or the way that I want to be, and I want to do the right thing. You know, I'm reading this book now.
That's another thing I want to talk about, Brian.
How to Behave and Why. It's from the 1940s. But they reissued it, and I just think it's awesome. It's like a Bible, you know?
Wow.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay, no, that's all right. Okay, I wanted to say, actually, the word you brought up, compromise.
Yeah.
I kind of want to explore that with you because for me, it's kind of a trigger word because my father was like, no way did he ever want to compromise. So I wanted to know what it means to you so that I can address it in my own mind, because it's come up a number of times, and I just wanted to get clear on that, because I don't think of it as compromise. So that's why.
When I read through your book, I went back a million times and kept reading the very beginning where you talk about children they're not our little, you know, slaves. We don't boss them around.
Oh, right.
And it made me think.
That chapter.
Yeah, I love that chapter, and I kept reading it, and I'm like, I'll say it. I'm like, damn straight, that's me. That's what I kept saying. You got these teachers. I'm on this thing where I talk to my classmates from when I was in elementary school at a Catholic school, and they all have grudges, and they're all mad at this one teacher named Miss Vitale, who was mean. He was mean to us. And everybody keeps saying that if she did what she did now, she'd be in prison and all this stuff. And I say, you know what? There was 45 kids in that class, and she had us under control. We respected her. We did everything she said, but she was mean. Like, that's just the way she handled classroom management. But there's a woman that did not compromise. Every day we had to put a heading on our paper. We had to write St. Charles Borromeo Catholic School, Miss Vitale's class, our name, the date. We had to draw 2 lines, and in red, and the other stuff had to be in blue or black. And I remember this from 5th grade. And so people are like, well, she made us do that. No, like, did it kill you? So, but she wouldn't compromise. If you didn't do it, you were in trouble. She called your parents. She inspected what she expected. And I think it gave me good discipline. And I don't look back at her. If I were to see her today, I would like to give her a hug instead of running from her. You know, when I see my students in Walmart, they run up to me and hug me. They don't run from me. I got reprimanded once when I was a music teacher because the kids ran to my class. The principal called me in and say, you got to stop these children from running to your class. Like, Lisa, not running from my class. They can't wait to get there. Why don't you give me credit for that? You know, and that's how a leader should be, I think. I saw a thing on the internet the other day where someone said, you know, a boss, you know, someone you know that they're the boss. They're just saying that a mentor is someone that makes you feel like you're the boss, but
Nice.
you know what I mean? And that
Yeah.
you're the one that's in charge. And I know that I don't make friends with my children or my grandchildren, but I love them. But they know that I'm a parent figure, and I want to be a good person, that they know that I'm stable and they can rely on me. But if I have to compromise my ways, how far do we take that?
Right.
That's because when
The,
I read your book,
you only take it as far as feels good to you, because that is part of the requirement of the one rule, that you
yeah,
find something that feels good to you. Every person involved in a situation, whether it's two or three or more, they find something that feels good to them. And
like that woman that uh that that, that Trump just hired to take place of the woman that just died. She's
oh,
taken
right.
over that spot. Well, she gets on there on the news the other day, and she says that she's a Catholic person and she has her beliefs, but she's not going to let that interfere with the law. It made me want to turn her off and think about that more. Like, if she really believes that stuff, but she's not going to uphold her real beliefs just because it conflicts with the law, that goes all the way back to give to Caesar what is Caesar and give to God what is God's. Some of the true people that have faith, and I think Batools like this, they're going to go with their heart. And maybe that
Yeah,
might make you
I
lose
agree.
a job or something. It might make you not be able to stay at a certain school and teach. And things like that happen to me. I had to
can,
not renew my contract sometimes because I
can
didn't
I add
agree with.
something?
Go ahead.
Uh, what I felt from your conversation, Brian, I don't know how much I'm right or wrong. You want to spend quality time with your granddaughter.
Of course.
You want to spend, quality time with her, and you don't want anyone interrupting in the middle. You want, as long as she wants to play with you, as long as you want to play with, like you are, this is the time when we are in this age that we actually like to spend time,
We're
because
bonding.
yes,
There's a
and
time.
that is,
There's a time
but
when she gets older and I might kiss her goodbye and she might do it like hide from me because she's embarrassed. But some people, like Karen said a minute ago, some people never move beyond that level. I want her to be a grown woman and saying, go hug my grandpa because I love him. He was always good to me ever since I was the first day old. I don't want
you
her to have
know,
to be embarrassed by me or.
no, Brian, the true love, your bond, your love is created by God. She has your blood in her. Your son's blood is in her, and your blood is in her. So that is a bond which no one can, no one,
Well,
no one,
it's,
no power
it's,
can,
it's
come
beyond
in the
that.
middle.
It's beyond that for me because I adopted my kids. I
Yes,
chose
so
them.
exactly. So basically, Brian, what you want is that you have to agree in a way. You have to talk to, make a routine or make some quality time, which is just for you and her. In that,
Yeah.
your mind yourself will know that this is the time she's going to come to me.
Is it
When you're going to
selfish?
agree, you
Am I
are going,
selfish?
no, it's
In a
not
good
being
way.
selfish. Because, actually, Brian, this is something which is for her betterment also. Because rules are meant to, for children, there are certain rules, all day we ask them to wake up, they will wake up. Children are like this, they don't want to go to bed. But, for their betterment, you put them into bed because, that's the
Yeah.
time they have to
Yeah.
go,
And you
right?
find techniques. You find techniques to say, well, tomorrow morning, come wake me up as soon as you get up, or we have things to do tomorrow. We need to get our rest, and that works for me right now. When I was a band teacher, I didn't want any other band teachers conducting my band. They're my people. They follow me. It's like, is that selfish? No, because I didn't want them to get bad habits or say we like that guy better than you when I was their hired hand to be their guy. And I thought, like, when they bring in a student teacher or the junior high teacher wanted to come in and conduct my band, or an outside guy, I didn't like that. And just like right now too, when I'm spending time with my granddaughter, that's between me and her. And I just don't want the interruptions. But am I selfish? I don't know.
No, you are not selfish, but you know, you should have, trust in yourself. You did your best in your band group.
Yeah,
No one can take your place. No one can be Brian.
right.
No one can be Brian. You trust your own skills. You should not think like you have to, you have to find someone who can replace, suppose in the future, your place. If you want someone better. That like
And I
Brian has
earned,
chosen someone good.
but I earned that. There was a time in my life maybe where I doubted myself and I doubted my ways, but that's when I was still learning. Now I am still learning now, but I paid my dues. That's why I'm here right now. I'm still doing it. I'm still paying my dues. That's why I came to your thing the other day. I'm willing to learn from people from other countries and all that. And I contacted some of those people on the side and made other friends from that, you know?
Wow, good.
Basically, we all are learners over here. We all are
Yes,
learning. Till,
yes.
because we always, every day teaches us a new lesson.
If someone asked me what my best hobby was, Karen knows a lot of things that I do. She saw me perform live in Las Vegas. She knows that I'm a teacher. She knows I do workshops. But if someone were to ask me, what's your hobby? What's your favorite thing? I would say, well, learning. I'm a learner. I learn things. I spend a lot of money and time developing my mind. I don't even need to nail the 4 college degrees on the wall anymore. I don't have to show them off.
I agree
I,
with you, Brian. I totally agree with you because these college
I don't,
degrees are useless if a person does not have any experience or understanding or wisdom to
when I
use.
apply for jobs, I don't even send a resume now. I just send a bio.
Hmm.
That, that's nice. That's nice. You're a cool
Well,
person.
if that doesn't catch their interest and want me, then I don't. The heck with them. I just send a bio, and I have this little cover letter I show where I tell them some of my accomplishments and what I can offer them. When I was first a teacher, that's what they asked me. What can you offer these kids? I had an interview, the principal, and they want to hire you. What experiences do you have? Now, when they interview teachers to be for a job, they say, well, can you teach to the test? Are you going to be a team player? Can you do what we want you to do? To me, that's not teaching. If that's the way it was, 30 years ago when I got into this field, I would have never continued with it. I would have went into something else because the principal isn't in charge of the school anymore. The principal's just a babysitter of the parents and the book salesman and a school board. And, they're not, it used to be about what the principal's ideals were. They ran the school and the teacher had the same power. I think that's over. So
Hmm.
Principals lost the principles, actually.
now that I'm an
Principals have
old
lost the
man,
principles.
and my best student is my granddaughter, I'm just going to stick with that and stick to my guns.
That's nice. That's nice. Miss Karen, you know
Yeah.
that even a farmer knows better because of his experience. Like Brian said, farmer knows better about the weather. If you go and ask a farmer, he will tell you before a weather forecast person is going to tell you that when is going to be rain because he
Of
looks after
course.
his fields. He's better, he grasps it with the atmosphere. That's wisdom. That's
You know,
experience. That's knowledge. Yes.
I,
Right.
I would I would have liked to have a better experience, a closer relationship like with my own grandfather. And I think about that a lot. And I used to blame myself for not going to see him more often or not trying to make take the initiative to do it. But I'm thinking a lot of it is he didn't have the knowledge to come to me. Like he wasn't educated as much as us 3 are here. Maybe he did spend some quality time with me, but I think that he didn't know what to do. And if we had all this these tools and technology, like Karen's sticking with this darn show every Tuesday, and I miss most of them now, and it hurts me because I learned from this, and it also validates a lot of my beliefs because I have other people that are happy, and doing things, and that's where I want to be. I don't want to be out there. When I go to the doctor's office, everybody sitting in the waiting room is injured, miserable, they all have problems. And I go into the doctor, and these are all what you deal with every day. People that have problems and are miserable. Like, why would you want to do that? So you can have a boat, so you can have a Harley, have fancy BMW instead of driving an old truck like I do. You know what I mean? Like, is it worth it? That's why I wouldn't want to be a dentist, to drill people's face every day and all day long, every day, and be miserable. No, that's why I became a teacher, to help people in another way where they respond to you, and you get daily paybacks, and and you're influencing people and helping people in another way, a way that worked for me, I guess.
You are right,
Yeah.
but I don't like the artificial world.
What?
Even I don't like, Miss Karen, the artificial worlds when when they are more materialistic and all. I want the true person. I want to meet the true person.
Yeah.
Because when I meet someone, I want to be, I want them to be themselves.
Yeah.
I don't want them to be, thinking that they are rich or they are poor or whatever they are, nothing. I want them to be themselves.
Right.
It's hard to find that now. It's hard to find that. People, they're hiding behind things. They play games with you. I got a plumber coming here today because someone's been throwing cigarette butts in one of my toilets. They know I don't want that. I have an outside bathroom by my swimming pool, and people smoke. So I've been telling them, like visitors. So I put the rule down. I was kind of like, stop throwing the cigarette butts on the ground. My little granddaughter's picking them up. So now my toilets are all clogged and my plumbing, it's costing me money. It's the third time I got a plumber coming out. So what they did was, they're like, the heck with him, we'll just throw him in his toilet then. I'm like, why? That's what, that's why, how to behave and why. That's the stuff I want to treat my damn granddaughter. Do the right thing. If you don't throw stuff in a toilet just because a guy asked you not to throw it on the ground, why would you do that? That's terrible. People, what was their upbringing? What are they thinking? It just hurts my
You can't
feelings.
change sometimes people. You can't change them, right? Sometimes, but you have to, accept them, and then it becomes easy for to move on.
The religious people say to forgive and let go and move on. That's difficult for me. I'll admit it. It's a weakness I have. I would like to know who stole something out of my cupboard, or I had a bottle of liquor that someone gave me, and I don't really drink, but it was from Russia. And then I noticed the other day there was a bug in it, so I pulled it out. Someone stole the liquor out of it and put water in it and put it back in there,
Really?
thinking he'll never know.
Oh,
I can find out who did that. You know what I mean? But I have to learn to forgive and let go. They wanted it that bad that they did that. That's what I get for having guests at my house and invite them to come over for barbecues or swim in my pool. Did they steal my liquor or throw cigarette butts in my toilet? And you're supposed to forgive and let go. And I had a student once. The parents wanted me to ride on their float for 4th of July. They owned a Cajun cafe, and they were from New Orleans. So they asked me to teach their son how to play the Saints Go Marching In on his trumpet. So I did. So the next year, I called them and I said, do you want me to ride on the float again like we did last year? I figured I'll call and offer my services. They said, no, we don't need you now. Now you taught our son how to play, how to play it. Like, what the heck? I took that bad, I guess. Maybe they didn't mean it that way. They need to learn the one rule. Just hurt my feelings. You taught you were a mentor to our son, and now we don't need you. You know, we got
I'll
what we
bet,
needed out of you.
I'll bet their son can't play like you can though.
Huh. See, that's why I need you
I,
guys. You know, you're right. You're right.
yeah, I mean, if you ever get a chance, Batool, it's just awesome. His playing is awesome.
I hope
We
to
will
be back.
listen one day. We will listen,
Ah,
Brian.
yeah, that would be good.
I
Like,
hope to
because
be back.
music is also very important for children, so you can play some music that, you know, they can
We're,
then later
we're,
on buy those albums from you to calm the children down to enjoy.
I used to love Raffi.
Mhm.
Remember Raffi? Look
Raffi,
him
yeah.
up. He's kind of retired now, but I used to love him. He's a he's not a native American or from America. I'm not sure where he's from. He's foreign to us in America. But if you think of it, write that down and look him up. He's so good. But I
It,
do music with my granddaughter every day.
nice.
Every day.
That's
He
good.
has to do it. Her mama has to tell her, no, give us a break. It doesn't always sound good. When I first started playing the trumpet, I lived in Philly, and my mom made me do it in the basement, you know, until I got better. Then they started to ask me to perform and show off. But in the beginning, I was in the basement with the door shut. You know, you got to pay your dues.
Right. Well, I, we were talking at the beginning about your granddaughter transitioning to
Yeah.
3 and that she's shifting. And so as I was saying about the 2-year-olds, that's where the adult in the one rule does the work of finding something that will work for them first and also for the child. And they, of course, need to do this before that child is determined to have what they want, if they want it to go smoothly. But I'm thinking now that your granddaughter is transitioning, you can start introducing the fact that, well, I know you're important and what you want's important, but I'm important too. Just start, that just kind of expands her world a little bit, like, oh, yeah, okay. And you can just start with that, like, I'm important too, and right now I need this. What can we do about it? And she might start thinking along those lines. She will at some point if you do this, and start coming up with, oh, okay, well, I could sit over here, or I could play and you could watch, or, you know, something, or you could even come up with those kind of things too.
And
And with the
I think,
2-year-old, that's what you need to do. The adult needs to come up with those ideas, to be a model, to be an example of the one rule in action for those children, because they are absorbing things, even if they don't have the skills to carry them out. They're taking them in, and as they develop the skills of realizing that somebody else is there and they have, their needs might not jive exactly with mine, and so we're going to find something that does, because this is a belief that there is always something, at least one thing, maybe 1,000 things that could be done in any moment that would be harmonious for the people involved. And the thing is that when you start thinking like this, even if you aren't a person that practices meditation or is into being centered or in touch with their inner being or whatever, however they look at it or call it. But if you are in the practice of finding harmony, that's going to put you there. It's going to shift you there, because that's where your answers are. The answers are with that inner part of each person, and what's really important is there. It's in there, and it can come out, and does come out, especially if this is the practice. One thing, I don't know if I've ever mentioned, but I did not have to show very many children at Children's House this this practice of finding something that works for both of them or whoever's involved in a situation. I did not have to show very many children. And it's almost like everybody started knowing this just automatically. Very interesting to me. I mean, I just had this thought of like, if more people were doing this, it could just by nature spread, because it did at Children's House. I did not do very many demonstrations to children who were in a certain, like a conflict or beginning conflict situation. Very few of these, and then the conflicts stopped. The only time they might come up is when there were, if we had a new student and they came from a troubled background. Most of our students didn't have troubles like that. In fact, I just remembered one little girl. I had stopped working at Children's House. I was writing my book, and they asked me to come back because there was one little girl who was just causing trouble for all the kids she interacted with. But because she was by family connected with the school, they decided it would be awkward not to have her there. So they asked me to come back. And so I just did, and I hung out with her and I gave her some skills. And within 2 weeks, they said, "Don't come back anymore, she's fine." So, so this stuff really works if you use it, and it's not complicated. It's just different than
Did she miss you? Did they
What?
ever report to you that? Did
They
they ever
never.
report to you? Like, where's Miss Karen? I was counting on her. Does that happen?
I don't
You know what I
know.
mean?
Nobody ever told me. They just said,
Okay.
they called me, and actually the head teacher called me and said, "Don't come in."
Wow.
I was ready to, but anyway, they said don't, because she's fine now. She's getting along with all the kids, and we don't want to shift that in any way. So,
Okay.
it was fine with me. But
Okay.
actually, that situation with that little girl made me feel even stronger that because when I was there, I was thinking, I wish I could bring her home with me. But that, I mean, we did have some outside kids come stay with us now and then, but that wasn't going to work. And so I was thinking I really have to share this stuff with people so that their parents can give them this kind of life, this way of living life, and so they won't need otherwise, you know, because they've got it. So because once you get it, once you get that lineup, it's just part of you. It's part of who you are and how you are. And I think as much as possible with your granddaughter, help things go in a way that feels good to her also, because the tradition is that how she feels or what she thinks or what she wants is not as important as what the adult does, but it's not, that's not true as far as I'm concerned. It really, really needs to be everyone. And I had I brought something up because I'd been thinking of it. I brought it up with my younger daughter, and it's all because of all these shows I'm doing and intense thinking about the one rule, and realizing that even though I didn't have a name for it, that's how I was with my children and the children that I worked with. And one of the things I realized was that I never agreed to something that didn't feel okay to me. You know, it may not have been what I thought of, but if it didn't feel good, I wouldn't take it on. We'd find something that would work for me too. And because I was such an easygoing and agreeable person, my youngest daughter kind of thought like I was not doing that I would do things even if I didn't want to, but I never did. Never.
Okay.
Yeah. If I didn't want to, that wasn't one of the options. But usually it was, yeah.
That's a good answer that I was looking for.
Ah, good.
Yeah.
I'm glad I said
That's very nice. He found his answer.
Yeah, that is.
I was looking for that because it's like you have the freedom to go with the flow, but you're not going to compromise your morals.
No way.
Like in the schools now, what I was trying to get across is that like now you're required to write lesson plans and have an objective and an outcome. Yeah. And what you're saying is if the kid wants to go this way or that way, sometimes I would want to do all that, but if you're being observed and all that, you can't do it. And if you try to stick to the lesson plan and the kids aren't used to that, they're going to rat you off, you know. Someone's going to note it. It's a dog and pony show. That's why in the modern education, the way things are going right now, it doesn't agree with me. It's like you don't have the freedom to improvise or go down another road, even though you're not compromising your morals or your values, but you're getting off task, but you're on another task. It's just as good. That's right. The way I like to run. Yeah. That's why I like jazz and blues music, because you set down a foundation, but then you get to go crazy, and then you bring it back and you're done. You know, it's like you get to show put your own, you know, self into someone else's thoughts who laid down the foundation, and then you get to go, and that's why I'm successful at that. I like free playing the trumpet, but I start off with the rules, and show that I could follow the rules, but then now I'm going to go my way, you know, and make it my own, you know. That's what's fun about music. I think they say music's creative, but not the people to play in symphonies. They're not creative. They're reading what the conductor gave them on the music. You got played exactly the way. So to me, that's like you're like a mechanical robot. There's no improvising there. There's no creativity in following a conductor telling you what to play, and hey, I got to play that music perfect or you're fired. But in blues and jazz, not so.
Right. Yeah.
And that's
like
my time. I think when I
like
spend
a
with
good
my
life.
students.
Thank
Yeah.
you. That's nice.
And that's when the time I spend with my students, I want it to be like that. All right, here's the foundation. We're going to respect each other. We're going to treat each other good. Here's what I want to try to get across to you, but let's go with it. Who's got some? It's the way you're running this. You know, you let me talk too much today, but I still, you know,
You're welcome, though.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you. But I got some answers too, and it helps.
Good.
Nice.
Oh, I love when things happen that way. I like life to be like that, you know, like
it's like a
neither of us
sakurai,
knew that.
you know? It's like an instant awakening. Like, I get it now, you know, I get it. Just be who you are and go with it if you trust yourself, you know.
Right, that's
You
what
know,
Batool was saying earlier too.
I don't want to be judged by anyone anymore. I don't want to worry that I'm not doing the right things. I know in my heart that I am going to do the right things. Just like you were saying, Karen, you're gonna do it.
Brian, we can't make everyone happy. We can't make that. So
Yeah.
at least make yourself happy.
They say if you don't have enemies, you're not doing anything.
No, Brian, trust me, enemies are also not there. It's just that those people don't understand the relationship values. They
Well, you
have
can
gone
learn
in a
from
wrong
them.
direction.
You can learn from them too how not to be.
We are lucky that at least we know that we are on the right track. And we pray that God give them the right track also.
Yeah. They say keep
Just
your
set,
friends close,
yeah, because
keep your enemies
what I
closer.
do is exactly
I've
just
heard
set
that.
your own boundaries. Be happy in that.
Yeah. I mean,
Because
but
they
too,
give you enmity, they give you jealousy, they give you hatred. In return, you give them love. You give them kindness. Even a
you know what,
stone gets melted with the heat of love.
Karen, the other day I went on the instant messenger and I sent Batool a thing saying you did well. I tried to give her a compliment for her conference, you know, and
Yeah.
she spent the next 45 minutes sending me positive thoughts, and she gave me almost an hour of her time afterwards just because I sent her one little thumbs up and said you did a good job on your thing, and then she just kept talking to me about stuff, and it just made my day. It's like I have a new friend here
That made my day also. I love talking to you guys.
but that was nice of you to stay on that thing with me and keep sending me words of wisdom and talk with me, and it was emotional to me. A lot of people won't take the time to do those things.
No, I'm always there. Miss Karen knows that we are connected all together. Whether it's my day, whether it's my night, Dan Scones, he sometimes asks me, are you an owl or something? You don't sleep because it's your night. Once he even told me that you don't give time to your husband. I said, no, he gets his own time. Don't worry about that. I have my own life like this. I can't leave that. He has his own time. Doesn't matter.
Awesome.
It feels nice. It makes someone feel nice. It feels nice.
Yes. Yes.
The feeling you can't, we can't imagine. Like Miss Karen's face just glow when you said that I know my answer. I saw her face. She was glowing. Touch wood, it was glowing.
Yeah.
Finally, you got your answer.
You're right, Batool. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Have
So
a
the
great
time is
week.
up. It was nice talking to you all.
Yes.
Hope to see you in the next sessions too, Brian. Do come, do
Okay. I'm
Yeah.
trying to
get
get my schedule.
connected also.
Trying to
That
get my
was-
schedule. I had a nurse here this morning, but I got rid of her. I said, I got to go to work.
All right.
Thank you,
Alright.
girls.
Great
Bye-bye.
week. Bye.
Thank you.